Ebonee's creativity. Hey everybody, I'm Ebony. This is Ebonee's Creativity. Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. Today I have trash to treasure projects for you. One is actually a thrift flip and the other two are trash to treasure. One did come from the thrift store, and if you've seen my video with my mom here on the channel, if not, I'll link it above and below. If you've seen that video, you'll recognize one of the pieces, but the other two, I just found them on the side of the road in the trash pile. So hopefully you will enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you do find it enjoyable or useful in any way, please do not forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and let's hop right into the projects.
Okay, so the first item that we're going to be doing together is this bench. I found this on the side of the street, actually next door to a house where I went to go pick up a dresser from for free. So there's free furniture to flip all around us. Just got to keep an eye open. Anyway, as you can see, this one was very wobbly. It used to be like a pleather material that you can see here, but it all came off. But I thought it was in pretty decent condition and that I could give it a new life, so I'm gonna do that. I started out with these hex keys. This is what I'll be using to tighten the loosened nuts and bolts. So I flipped this over to make that easier, and I determined which size would work best. And then you can see it's still really wobbly, but I'm going to use my hex key and I'm going to tighten it. I'm going to position the leg exactly where it should be, and then just turn with the hex key. These are really easy to straighten out once they get wobbly. And I got that whole pack of hex keys for $1 from Dollar Tree. So see, it's not wobbly anymore as compared to this other one here, which is still pretty wobbly. So I'm just going to go ahead and tighten all 4 of those. And then next I will be removing the seat cushion part. So you can see that there are a bunch of these little tabs on the bottom and they're connected by a screw. I'm just going to unscrew those so that I can release the seat. See how easy that is? Just a couple screws and it's gone. So if you ever want to reupholster a bench, it's really easy, so don't get discouraged. It's just simply a few screws that will attach most seats to the actual bench portion, and you can see it's not wobbling anymore, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and remove this batting piece that's on the back. Don't need it. I guess they just put it on to make it look more finished on the bottom, but it doesn't really serve any purpose in my opinion. As with most benches, there are about a billion staples holding this fabric on. So I am going to be removing them with a flathead screwdriver, and I'm just going to get underneath the fabric until I can loosen a couple of the staples. And sometimes you're able to pull up from that point and the rest of the staples will pop out. Sometimes not. In this case, I was not able to. They were on there pretty good, so I had to use my screwdriver and just kind of pry up a lot of the staples until I was able to free enough fabric to pull. But I had to remove quite a lot of the staples till I was able to do that. Plus, I did not want to ruin the foam part that's underneath, the polyfill material that's underneath the fabric. It was secured with the exact same staples as the fabric, so I didn't want to tear those up. So I just took my time and pried most of the staples up individually. You can see here it's kind of taking a while. This is time lapse and it's still taking a while, so I just gently pried them apart, and as you can see, I was finally able to get them off. And I'm just gently separating the fabric from the polyfill because I don't want to ruin that material. So if you can remember, this bench had a few tufts in it, and so the fabric is secured where those tufts are. So I forgot that it had those in there, so I flipped it up thinking I was going to be able to rip the fabric off, but the tufts were holding it in, so I had to flip it back down and release the tufts. And what I did was just take my screwdriver again and cut the threads. You can kind of see from this angle. I don't think it's the best angle, but you can still kind of see how I'm just doing the same method that I did to release the fabric, just popping the threads that are holding those tufts in place. And then after I break all the threads, As you can see here, they're all broken. They were stapled in pretty good too, so this was once a well-made piece of furniture. But once I released all of those, then the fabric just came right on off. And luckily, the foam part underneath was clean and in good order. If it had not been, I would have replaced it, because sometimes, you know, when you're dealing with fabrics, you can get smells and all kind of bad stuff that you don't want to sell to people. In this case, I think I'll keep this, but still, if I end up selling it or keeping it, I don't want it to have a bad odor. Up next, I'm just going to be cleaning the piece with some simple green, making sure I clean really well. Whether I keep this or sell it, I like my stuff to be good mint condition, so I'm cleaning it really well. Up next, I'm going to take this curtain, which I have thrifted. You can see the rings at the top, so you know that it's a curtain. And it's a really nice material. I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of like a suede material. It's a really beautiful material. I'm going to put it nice side down on top of the frame of my bench. And then I'm going to place the cushion on top and start my reupholstering for this project. So because this curtain is so large, there's going to be a lot of excess material. I could have did a better job of preserving more of the material, but I didn't really care. I've had this curtain in my house for a while, and I just plan on throwing the remnants out anyway, so I just didn't want to be trying to conserve as much material as possible. But my method is to staple along one side, making sure to pull it as taut as I can, and then cut the excess fabric off, as much of it as I can, making sure not to cut too much, because I'll still need some to pull up to cover the other side as well as both ends. So I've stapled one side down. You see me pulling really taut, not taut enough to make wrinkles, but taut enough so that my fabric will look smooth when I flip it back over. So my method is to do this side by starting in the middle and stapling the middle part down, holding it as tightly as I can without making it look bunchy, because if you pull too tight, you're gonna get some wrinkling. You can see a little bit of wrinkling on the side there, but I was able to smooth it out eventually. But yeah, I'm just pulling from the middle. I'm securing it, then I start at one end and secure the other end. So that's where we are right now. You can see, you know, my fabric looks pretty smooth. And this is how I do the corners. So I just kind of fold it out, making sure that it's not bunched up in any way, that it will lay flat. And then I just kind of tuck the side in and pull the top back. So this is how I do corners. I'm not sure if that explanation is the best, but you can kind of see here what I'm doing. And I just want to make sure that there's just one pleat, that there's not a bunch of creases coming back over, so that it will have a smooth look. And then I secure that in. Then I just keep going down the side, making sure to pull with the hand that I'm not stapling with. I'm still trying to pull the fabric as tight as possible without making it look bad. And I'm just securing this with staples. So that's what you see me doing here. I ran out of staples, but thankfully my gun is easy to reload. So I just reloaded it, popped some new staples in, popped the top back on, and I'm able to get back to stapling. So now that I've done one corner, I'm just gonna get pretty close to the other corner and fold it out like I did this first corner that I showed you, and then cut some excess material off, and I'm gonna go to the other end and do the exact same thing. So it's just a matter of pulling, stapling, pulling, stapling. When you get to the corners, tuck it under, and now you can see here my finished cushion, which I think looks pretty good for me not to be a professional. Up next, I'm gonna be working on the frame of the bench, so I'm gonna take some primer, and I am just going to spray this. I'm going to give it a really good coat, and then I'm going to wait for that to dry, and I'm going to give it another coat, because I'm going to be using a metallic color and I want it to sparkle. So this is after 2 coats of primer. Then I'm going to be using this gold spray paint, because at this point I hadn't decided whether I was going to sell it or keep it for myself, but many people can use golden cream, and the fabric is a cream. It may have appeared more white on here, but it's like a cream suede material. It's really nice. And at this point I hadn't decided, but I was going to just make it to match my decor just in case. So, and it's neutral color fabric, so anybody probably could use it. And I just made the base gold, and I waited for that to dry. And now I am at the place where I am going to combine the two pieces back together. So I'm just going to place my frame. I'm going to use these screws, which are the same screws that I took out initially from the little L brackets that were underneath. And here is how the bench turned out. So I would be placing it on the other side of the table, but I put it on this side for picture purposes. I think it looks really good, and it was free. And here I am enjoying it, so I think I'm going to keep it. It really does look cute in my dining room, so I think I'm stuck with it now. Can't part with it. This is the thrifted piece, and this is going to be project number 2. As you can see, it's kind of just a keepsake box. And if you watch the video on the channel with my mom in our thrift store challenge, then this is one of the items that she picked out for me. And so I am just going to start out by painting it with some Waverly White, not the whole thing, but just the top part and the front panel that you can see when you're face on to it. So I'm just going to go in with some white paint, and I'm going to paint both of those portions up. And I did end up doing 2 coats because one coat, as you can see here, was not all that good. It didn't come out looking good. After that, I printed this printable off of my Cricut, and then I was able to add this to the top portion of the box. So as you can see, it says fresh herbs, so you might be getting an idea of exactly what I did with it. And I am by no means an expert with the Cricut, and everything, the letters didn't come out exactly how I wanted, but I didn't want to start over, so I just went in with my whiteout. Luckily my background was white, so I just went in with some whiteout, and I was able to kind of fix the letters to exactly how I wanted them to be, just using whiteout. I figure this didn't have to be perfect because you probably won't be able to see much of the letters anyway, so if you would rather have it printed out perfectly, you can find you a printable and print it, but I thought this was okay for now. And I did make this little floral garland, I don't know what you call it, but a little vine printable as well to put on the front panel that I also painted. So here you can see me just weeding. I'm not a professional with the Cricut, like I said, I just kind of learn as I go, but I'm going to add this right here. So next I am going to be putting a plastic bag in here and adding some cilantro as well as some banana peppers. I love Mexican food. That's my favorite kind of food. And so I cook a lot of Mexican dishes, and I can never have enough bell peppers or cilantro. Plus the cilantro makes your house smell really good. And so here is how my little herb garden turned out. I have it on my little shelving system in my kitchen. There's a video on this channel about this. It was done with Dollar Tree planters and shelves from the thrift store. So I just love this little area in my kitchen. Here's more of a view of that in case you haven't seen it. And here is how my little herb garden turned out. I love it. How about you? Oh, and I made those little cilantro and banana pepper signs from a sticker, like a label sticker, and a skewer, but they sell them ready-made at Dollar Tree if you would like something like that that's already pre-made. Our third and final project is this item here. I think it used to be maybe a table or something. I don't know, but I found it in the trash on the side of the street, and I decided to pick it up because I'm always going to be attracted to wood items. As you can see, it is completely covered in dirt, so I'm going to take my simple green and wipe it down really well. It was pretty filthy. And next I'm going to unscrew the bottom portion from these spindles or legs. I don't know what this used to be, a stand or table, I don't know, but the portion underneath the bottom screwed off pretty easily. So here's the 2 pieces and what they look like. And here's what I'm left with. This is the part that I'm mainly going to be concerned with right now. So you can see all those little holes, and I'm going to just take this wood filler and fill all the holes. Now there's some kind of felt or something, fabric inside of those larger holes, and I was not sure if the wood filler would stick to them. So I tried to overfill the holes well enough to where I would have enough overfill to attach it. And it didn't work as well as I had hoped, but it gave me a pretty decent result. So here's how it looked after I got finished filling as it was drying. And so after it all dried, I kind of sanded back some of the wood filler, trying to be mindful not to overdo it over those felted circles. But as you can see, the holes are still pronounced and some of the wood filler cracked. So I'm just trying to do another layer of wood filler here, and I'm just going over the holes that were not filled as well. When I'm using this, most of it is going to be covered up anyway, so I'm not concerned with getting the holes perfect. If I had been, I probably could have, but I'm just going to use the Cathedral Taupe Fusion Paint, which is what I used in my last furniture makeover here on the channel. And I'm just going to give this 2 coats of paint. You can still see some of the circles coming through in this clip, but I'm okay with that. I'm not doing a full complete coat of paint. I'm just kind of not lightly, but I'm covering most of it, but I wanted it to have kind of a distressed look. I wanted some of that natural wood tone to come through, so I didn't like slather it in paint. I just kind of did it haphazardly. And I'm taking my plier here and I'm going to remove the hardware that held the spindles onto the feet, and I'm going to hot glue the feet down, and now I have me a little tray. So I think this project turned out pretty cute. Like I said, it is not perfect, but you know, you can see here it's still usable as a tray, and I think it turned out pretty cute. It will be perfect for styling my furniture pieces that I flip, and so I think it turned out pretty good, even though it's not perfect. So tell me what you think. How do you think this tray turned out? What do you think I could have done to cover those circles a little bit better?
Alright guys, so which one was your favorite? I'd have to say my favorite is the herb garden. I just really love that one. So leave me a comment and let me know which one was your favorite. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye guys.
Thank you so much for watching my video. If you have the time, please select another option from the screen and watch that video as well. I appreciate your support, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye guys.